The ICT situation in Europe is not very hopeful. Most of the big ICT companies are located in the United States or in Asia. So we have some parts in the software business. We are pretty strong, for instance, for business software, but we lost the markets in database technology. We lost also the market in office software. We lost the market in operating system, and I could count different other fields. So that's the present situation, but this should not be forever true. I think when we look at innovation, and innovation is defined as the economically successful production of new ideas. So it's not enough just to produce new ideas, they have to be made economically successful. So we have to combine invention with innovation. Invention is just the first part. And when we look at the whole value chain of this innovation process, then we can see that we are still pretty strong in Europe in the first parts, in basic research, also in applied research, but not that strong in developing new companies which make out of the new ideas products. And then this is also not enough just to have small companies which produce products. Also these products have to be made internationally successful. And I think, from my opinion, this is the biggest problem we face. As I said, we are still pretty strong in our universities and our research organizations. We spend a lot of money in Europe, also from the European Commission, for supporting research, but when we look at the results from the market perspective, then the results are pretty poor. But we can change this. And I think we have more to face to the last parts of the innovation process, how we can motivate young people to found companies, but also how they can make these companies internationally successful. So we have also to look at the growth period of a company. And in the moment when we look at the example, for instance, from the United States, Silicon Valley, there are already the big companies located, and start-up companies can find very easily partners in these big companies, and they help them to go international. And because we don't have these big companies in Europe that much, so it's very difficult for small companies, for young companies, to find partners who help them to go international and to grow. And so, at the end of the day, in many cases, young companies which have brilliant ideas and have already a small market success, for instance in Germany or in France or in Great Britain, then they will be bought by a US-based company, and that means that we, from a European perspective, have all the risky parts of the innovation process. We spend money in research, we spend money in funding companies. All these are very risky parts, but then the successful companies are bought and grabbed from Asian companies or US companies. And I think we have to break this loop. That means we have to focus on successful, bigger companies, and then I think we will come in a positive loop, because these big companies will also pull research. They will also motivate young people to found companies, because then they can find partners. We have some big ICT companies like SAP, for instance, here in Germany, and around the SAP we can see such a development that they also work together with young companies. Also in my case, it was one of the factors that I started a company from the university background, from research, but then I found very early the partnership to the SAP, and they helped us also to internationalize. And so at the end of the day, after 25 years, we were located in more than 30 foreign countries with our own subsidiaries. So I think this is my basic experience I gathered in my academic life, and also from this entrepreneurial point of view, that we not should focus on one part of this innovation process. We have to take into account the whole process. When does innovation start, and when really innovation has become to a status that you can say, okay, we have conquered the world. And in the moment, the universities look only at their success and how they measure their success, the number of students, the number of theses and all this stuff, how much the funds they acquire. This is a measure, but not how many companies and how many products have been created out of these ideas which were created at universities. Also the ministries only look at some parts. So the Minister for Economics look only at, for instance, at the founding of companies, but not at the research lab. Or the Minister for Research looks only at the budget he receives for supporting research. So this is, I think, the most important gap we face in Europe, that we have not this complete understanding of innovation. But I think it's not too late. When we have understood the situation, then we can help. We have to allocate our money, not only for research. We have to push the universities to collaborate more with the industry, to motivate young people, and also to give the companies a chance for acquire well-educated staff and so forth. We have good resources in Europe still. We have good equipment, we have good people, we have a good education system, but we have to assign it in a different way to the big target of innovation. And then I have the hope, realistic hope, that we can also compete with United States, with Asia. We have a special competence, especially in applied systems. That's also the reason why companies like SAP are successful in the world. Their success is based on 150 years of experience we have in industrialization in Europe. The Asians don't have, US of course have, but we are still ahead in some parts in industry, for instance, in Germany and also in France and in Great Britain, or more in the service industry. So we have to combine our knowledge in these applied areas with the technology, and then I think we can be successful. My feeling is that we could be successful in the future in the field of security. We are very sensitive in this field, and we can make of this disadvantage in some sense also an advantage. We can offer to the world, for instance, secure cloud computing. That's a big issue in the moment. Also, embedded systems is a hot topic, I think, where we can be successful in the future. We have the industry, which builds in IT technology in the product. That's the machinery industry, that's the automotive industry, that's healthcare industry. And we have, in this field, we have the whole value chain in Europe. We can do research, and also we have the consumer, which build in the ITC systems in their products, as I said, machinery industry and others. So these are, I think, big chances we face, and we should focus on these areas. And again, we should focus on the whole value chain from basic research to international success of products.